You want an investment edge, but all you hear is noise, hype, and half-truths. Every signal is solid information, but only if you can see the bigger picture. This is where the Quasar magic happens. Weather, charts, news, all financial signals funneled into a single dashboard. Data alone isn't enough. Quasar Markets turns it into energy, sharp, clear, precise. Optimize with Quasar Markets today. Your edge when investing.
Good morning, traders, and welcome to Quasar Markets Live morning look at the markets. You got Hondo, and I am joined by my partner in crime, like always, BigBeat himself, Steve Orr. We got a busy Tuesday heading into the Thanksgiving week. The AI chip trade may be entering season 2 as Meta kicks the tires on Google's custom chips. A huge slate of earnings from Zoom, Dix, Best Buy, Analog Devices, Alibaba, and more. Plus, tonight we hear from Dell, Workday, Zscaler, Autodesk, and Urban Outfitters, a full tour of the U.S. consumer and corporate IT budgets. And oh yeah, the markets are quietly pricing in a Fed cut in December, and it's likely already on the calendar. So the big questions today, is this AI move just another NVIDIA pullback or the start of a rotation into a new winner? Is the U.S. consumer actually in trouble or just getting pickier about what they swipe their card on? And what does the December rate cut really mean after the worst week for stocks since April and yesterday's rip your face off tech rally? Steve, we got a lot here to unpack. What are you looking at today?
I'm short Google. I'm going to short Google here this morning. There's a lot going on here today. Those numbers, again, if anybody thought that the job numbers were good, I mean, that's just nuts. I mean, it was just, I was like, of course they're not good. And they're getting worse, right? They're picking up, it's getting worse. And, but I will say this much. I went long, as everybody here knows, Netflix, and I crushed Tesla the last few days, and I sold all my Tesla yesterday on that move. But everybody's waiting for the Google, and there you go, CNBC now talking about Google now. So waiting on that $4 trillion. They may not hit the $4 trillion mark. It may be too many people trying to get to it. I'm going to short ahead of it. I want to be the ticker, right? So this run from what it was, I don't even know what the run was from. It was crazy what this run is. If you look at a daily chart of Google, 240-ish to 330 in just in a couple months. Yeah, no. This is nuts. So I get Gemini 3 comes out. I get it. Another AI question mark. Okay, nope, it's too much. And I get it. Warren Buffett bought it, but or his team, I should say. I don't think he bought it. Yeah, I again, we did the same thing with NVIDIA, right? When NVIDIA ran way up, we took the profits on that too, and they got smart. And I think you're going to see a lot of companies start to take profit. We're already seeing it now. I'm already short, so there it is. Yeah.
As you said, Steve, the lead story has to be the AI chip trade, which is now acting like it just discovered there are more than 2 characters in the script. Yep. NVIDIA down about 3 to 4% in the pre-market after a report that Meta is considering spending billions on Google's AI chips, specifically TPUs for its data centers in 2027, and may even rent out TPUs from their Google Cloud next year. Meanwhile, Alphabet is tacking another few percent on top of yesterday's 6% surge to go to fresh all-time highs. And Broadcom, which helps design those TPUs, ripped over 10% yesterday and is adding more this morning. The narrative for the last 2 years has been AI equals GPUs equals NVIDIA. So we are now seeing investors wake up to a more nuanced story. Steve, is AI going to be a GPU monoculture, or do we end up with a whole zoo of custom silicon?
I don't know. The AI chipset situation is out of control. Look, everybody's fighting for that one thing, right? So how do they get, who's going to win the war? I don't know. There's a lot of companies going out there. I think the companies that are going to win are the ones who have the pipeline already, right? And the ones who have the distribution ability and the ones who have the ability to create the actual chipset. But the problem is not AI chipsets. I mean, even Elon Musk now going to get into it and says he can make them faster and better. It's all about whether or not people want to buy them, who's buying what, right? And I don't, right now I'm not seeing it, right? I'm seeing Nvidia winning this war big time. I'm seeing Google kind of getting into the machine here, with Meta saying they're going to buy. Okay, great. I don't really understand why there's 25,000 chipset makers right now, right? Because quite frankly, they're not going to win. Small chipset makers are not going to win. Are you going to make them cheaper? How are you going to do it? Well, China. Well, we got a problem with China, right? So I don't. This is a massive problem we have coming up, right? But the question mark is, we need them all. We need them all. So will they all work together? So there's this massive shortage of AI chipsets. So will the Google chipsets work with NVIDIA chipsets? Will the NVIDIA chipsets work with TSM? We don't know that question mark, right? So this could be a real question mark into quantum computing. So yeah, I'm going to stick with NVIDIA, and that's what I'm going to stick with. I'm not. Okay. I don't. No. Yeah.
Yeah. Google's latest Ironwood TPU version 7 is reportedly about 10 times more powerful than their older versions and highly tuned for AI workloads. They are cheaper to run and more power efficient, which matters when the AI energy bill could rival their cloud bill. And Meta and others have said they want to diversify away from a single vendor, and everyone is looking for alternatives to the NVIDIA tax. But NVIDIA is still the key king of GPUs, for sure. So we'll see what we get there. Stevie, what are you also watching on the other pre-market movers and earners? We have Zoom.
If you're looking at it, sorry about that. If you're looking at NVIDIA, 174. If that's what you just mentioned it, Howard, NVIDIA's at 174 here. So
yeah, down another 4.4%. So if you're selling Google, you're buying the dip on NVIDIA?
Maybe. Yeah, maybe. Then this NVIDIA chipset question mark. This thing was not too long ago. It was at 209. Now it's at 174. Like
at 212.
212. Yeah. Okay. So there you go. It's wow. This is a sell-off here.
Yeah, and we've seen, and chips are having a rotation in general. In other words, again, Broadcom, AVGO up 11% yesterday, 3.19. They're Google's partners in building those chipsets. And on the other side of it, not just NVIDIA, but AMD seemed to be a loser in this deal, down 6.7%, even more than NVIDIA. Are you starting to think AMD starts to look attractive, Steve?
AMD is not quite keeping up with the business side of the chipsets. So yes, they're great for laptops. Now, I was at Best Buy the other day, and I think I talked about this with Scott Bauer yesterday, that, interestingly enough, Microsoft has a much bigger foothold now in Best Buy. Apple's foothold is getting smaller and smaller. And less people were going to the Apple. Maybe did I make a mistake here? I don't think so. I just think Microsoft's making a big play here with partnering with Dell and all these other companies. I saw Intel inside on almost all the people that were the ones that were buying. No one was buying AMD chipsets. It was a little cheaper by the AMD machine, but people want Intel because it's a stronger chip. Now I don't know if that's the case. That's what I was looking at. I don't think that's the case. I think they're both about the same. But people still like the Intel name, so maybe it's still okay here. Lisa Su done a good job bringing that team up, but man, I don't know. NVIDIA, I don't know. Every machine I saw had an NVIDIA chipset in it, and it wasn't nearly as expensive as it was, 5 years ago. So Alienware, I think you have Alienware now, right? So, yeah. You bought a new video card for your machine?
Mine came with NVIDIA RTX,
and that's what I'm saying. Right there it is. So it's automatically coming in now. So that's what I mean. Intel and NVIDIA work together pretty well. So that's probably still the same look there.
Okay, absolutely. And you mentioned Best Buy, Steve. I've got them here because they had their earnings. Strong beat on both top and bottom line. They raised their guidance 2.5% or so, and they were slightly up about 2.2% here on it. Strength is in computers, gaming, and phones. People are upgrading pandemic laptops. I talked to you about that. Said that I thought we'd see that, right? Because I knew it would hit mine. All my computers sort of that I got during COVID are, sort of becoming out of date. They did say one of the things you've been calling, people are buying the Switch 2, new iPhones, and starting to dabble in these new AI PCs. Appliances and home theater are still soft.
That's pretty much what I said last yesterday, and I'm saying it again today. I think you're absolutely right. I think you got it. Switch 2 is, I called that a long time ago. I was like, Switch still pretty hot. Wow. Kramer talking about live cattle this morning, that gas. I think they're starting to switch it up a little bit. That's kind of crazy. Live cattle. Wow. Price of live cattle. FebCAD is now 207.52. Not to change subject, but that's food and energy, right? So that's a quick question.
Well, that's because we're going to accept Brazilian and Argentinian beef with no tariffs.
And so, this pretends everything we're talking about, right? If cost of cattle has been coming down, then steak comes down, then the people have more money, and then more money, that means they have more money for a computer. They have more money for a computer. Which computer?
Well, who doesn't have more money? The American cattle herder.
That's true. That is absolutely true. The farmers in this country got absolutely slaughtered by the president. So it just is what it is. You know what? I do like this NVIDIA drop here, actually. My fingers are on the pulse here for Google. I'm shorting Google, as everybody knows here. Yeah, I'm going to continue. Yeah. I like this move here. I do like this move.
Okay. Staying in the world of retail, Steve, Dick's, they blew it out. They were up 5.7%. They had a revenue beat, full year guidance raised. Their problem child is still Foot Locker. They're going to close a bunch of the stores, marking down inventory, impairing assets, cleaning out the garage, as Foot Locker isn't the drag on 2026. It was in 2025. And they're expected to be down mid to high single digits in their Foot Lockers, with margins hit about 10 to 15%. What did you think about DKS?
Dick's Sporting
Goods. Big fan of their purchase of Foot Locker.
I think it's smart, and I think Foot Locker's selling some of their they're getting out of some of their retail spaces. I saw that this morning on the news. I think it's great. I mean, I think the partnership there is really good, to be honest with you.
Awesome, love it. The other one that's moving in the right direction, Steve, is Zoom, up about 5.22% here. You've been a long time user there. The revenue grew 4.4% to about 1.23 billion a year, above expectations. Their non-GAAP EPS exploded higher, up over 200% year over year. This is a mature cash machine. Enterprise customers are spending over 100K per year, grew 9%, and they're authorized to raise another $1 billion in buybacks. It's not hyper growth, but it's steady, sticky, profitable SaaS. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, out of all the TV and all the things that we use, I mean, I'm telling you, the Zoom is obviously the best one out there. I love Zoom. It just works. And I don't, some of the other companies that we use, sometimes the servers don't work so fast. And Zoom has backup. They have AWS, they've got Google Cloud, so they never have a problem of going down. And I like that. Good for them. I mean, I know how that works. So I like Zoom. I still like Zoom, and I think Zoom is just one of those companies that just keeps going.
Okay. We are 15 minutes from the open. So far, we are set to see the SPY open up down about 5 basis points. The NASDAQ down about 25 basis points. Dow is pretty flat so far. DXY has fallen back below 100 here, really getting hit hard the last 24 hours. We see gold regaining its luster at 41.41, silver at 51.42, copper holding up at 31.11. Bitcoin not so much, back below 87K. Ethereum unable to break through 3,000. And we see oil just continuing to move to the downside. Steve, does that start to worry you at all?
I mean, we've been talking about it for a long time now, that oil tells you everything about the economy, and oil's bad. So, yeah.
57.52, so well below, Steve's key metric of $60 there he looks for it to be a good area for those companies, those gas and oil companies. So, and when we look at the sectors of the S&P right now, the main laggard is technology, being led by NVIDIA's sell-off here today, down about a little over 1 percentage point. On the other side of that, we do see XLC, which is the communication sector, up about 1.13% so far. And again, a lot of that is Zoom and a few of the others in that sort of techie communication sector, more so
Google's still
than
selling
your
off here.
Comcast and others. Overnight across the seas, the Nikkei was down about 1.6%, continuing to slide from their highs back on November 3rd. So we've seen a little bit of a pullback there. Europe's seen a pretty decent day with the stocks up about 56 basis points and recovering there nicely. And UNG, one that Steve's been talking about, getting hit pretty hard the last 2 days. Steve, UNG down to 1362 here. I was a little surprised by that.
I'll tell you what, I've been posting it quite a bit lately that this cold weather coming in is pretty big. Look, this could be very, very, very big here. I'm very interested in this cold weather snap coming through. I'd be careful with UNG right now. There's a lot of people out there that are I don't know. UNG's there's not a bunch of it right now.
Yeah, that's why I was surprised it's dropped so much the last few days. So interesting there. Steve, we talked about it. You know, the 10-year has continued to fall. Now it was at 4.17, now down to 4.01. And we see FedWatch up over 80% chance of the December cut. Do you see anything in the data or anything came out today that should change the Fed's mind?
As I said yesterday, oh yes, of course. I thought PPI numbers were interesting. They are keeping their eye on inflation. So, but no, job numbers, ADP numbers came out. They're worse again. People got to be. Are they shocked that the job numbers are getting worse and worse? I mean, people are losing their job. So, no, I'm not shocked at all. Wow, Google's still slipping here.
And as Steve mentioned, and again, remember, these are September data that is coming out now. So core wholesale prices rose less than expected in September, indicating a potential cooling in the pipeline of inflation pressures. So that could give, again, that was what Williams said, right? Labor is worse, inflation not as bad. So it should give more impotence to the Fed to cut. So we'll see what we get there. Getting back into earnings a little bit, Steve, another one that had some nice earnings was Analog Devices, ADI. Up about 1%, up 3% yesterday after having, a pretty decent earnings report. They had a nice beat on earnings and revenue, came in at 3.08 billion, so up about 2% on their top line revenue and up about 1% versus their EPS street estimates. We also see that they talked about the demand and backlog in the industrial and auto industry. So they say the real economy isn't falling off a cliff yet with their earnings report so far.
Yes.
And getting into the next one is Alibaba, one you mentioned recently, right, Steve?
Yeah.
Had a really nice earnings report, up about 2.4%, 7.5% since yesterday. Their revenue was a beat, clouds up 34%. Their AI products have triple-digit growth for the 9th straight quarter, and they're planning to spend $53 billion on AI over the next 3 years. Stocks up 90% on the year. And a huge sentiment shift versus the China uninvestable narrative, it seems like, with Alibaba, right?
Absolutely. I mean, I think, Alibaba being the Amazon of China, I just don't know that I agree with China's numbers, right? And you got to, every single second of the day, there's always something going on with China. So I can't, it's uninvestable to me right now. I do like what they're doing with the AI. I've talked about that. I've talked about the medical side of China, what they're building, and I love that stuff, the tech side. But it's just uninvestable. China for me is I can't do it. I every once in a while I try to do something in China. I just can't seem to pull the trigger there. So no, I can't do it. I just can't do it.
A few other ones that have some stuff going on. NEO had their earnings report. They had revenues. Where is it? Deliveries are up 41% year over year, but they're still losing money less than expected. My bigger takeaway there, and it was a combination of their talk and what Volkswagen said. Volkswagen said they can build their EVs in China 40 to 50% cheaper than they can in any other nation. So I thought that was an interesting one. Keysight is up about 13% here after their earnings report. Technology company up almost 15% over the last 2 days. Their top line revenue was about a 3% win, and their EPS was a surprise about 4.2%. They also said that communication, testing, and design has been moving their rate of acceleration up. And then SanDisk, another one, was added to the S&P. Steve, any comments on that?
I have a few SanDisk cards. They're old. They're sitting on my desk. Right here, it looks like little bitty ones. We don't need them anymore, though. I don't know. SanDisk, because SanDisk, I get it. They're working on these new systems where it's like blades, but I don't know. I'm not sold on them yet.
So, Steve, as you look across this earnings sheet, Zooms, Dick's, Best Buy, Analog Devices, Baba, Neo, what story do you see about the consumer and the global economy? Is there any
Electric
tie-in?
vehicles?
Okay, there you go.
I think electric vehicles are still a thing. Hybrids are. I do still like that process. So I do like, and I mentioned it yesterday. I made several posts about it. Silver is needed in all of that, right? So the real story here is the pickaxe and shovels, and that's the 51.51 right now in silver. It took a beating of the day to 48. Now it's back almost back to 54 again. So it's telling you everything. There's not enough silver to cover the paper, and they need it in lithium. They need it in these EVs. They need it in all these things that we're building. They need it in AI development. So it's like silver to me.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, with that being said, then let's take this out and zoom out a little bit from the individual tickers and talk about the holiday consumer. From the earnings, we see at Dick's, a more affluent sports and outdoor customer is fine. It's the lower income Foot Locker shopper that's struggling. At Best Buy, people are absolutely willing to drop money on tech toys, laptops, consoles, phones, but they're not rushing to replace their fridge unless it actually dies. And when we look at housing, over half of the home sales this year had at least one price cut in them. And sellers who overprice end up on the market 5 times longer and still sell at about 3.7 below ask. If you sit in the market for 3 months, you're cutting 5%. So it's the same story as retail. The consumer's not dead. They're just choosy and price sensitive. They'll pay up for things they care about, tech, experiences, brand name gear, but they won't blindly accept sticker shock. Steve, how does that choosy consumer theme feed into your positioning? Are you more interested in these targeted winners like DKS or BBY, or are you still worried that the labor market cracks, all this selective strength goes away fast?
Well, I think the post just came out. Job cuts are up 65% from 2024, according to Challenger Gray and Christmas. You're not buying tech toys if you're out of job. You're not buying a new refrigerator or a house if you're out of a job. And I think there's a big problem here. So, I think the consumer is a little bit weaker than we think it is, but we're going to find out. I get that. We're just hearing reports now that China has unveiled a 3D integration chip to challenge NVIDIA's 4mm AI computing power, according to DigiTimes. Just came out. So NVIDIA getting hit again this morning by China. Wow, just continues to hit China, NVIDIA here. Google slipping here a little bit. I am still long fly. Okay. I doubled down yesterday, Howard. I moved my DCA. I'm down the profit now. It's interesting. You know what? The government still is moving towards the moon. So those are the questions. So, maybe government spending is going to be what covers some of this. I know that we removed Doge efficiency, but spending in the government is still pretty high. So I think there's a couple things that we could see, and defense spending is going to be up with Venezuela and China and Japan and Ukraine and Lord God Almighty. I mean, it's like defense spending is huge right now. So those kind of things are happening, but I don't know. The actual consumer is not happy right now.
Yeah, and I've seen more talk about it being a picky consumer than a not happy consumer. We'll see how that plays out. Been a lot of talk, like you said, of bundling of things and in experiences. In other words, some of the things that are being seen is movie theaters, bowling alleys, places where you can take people and you get everything at once, your food, your dinner, your entertainment and everything. Those are actually picking up as opposed to paying singularly and going to your fancy restaurant and then to the, movie theater or whatever. So we're seeing a
Right.
little bit different there. Steve, today, after hours preview, we got Dell coming up. We got a sneaky important day for AI and enterprise. Well, with Dell, we'll see if any AI server demand is big enough to offset PC normalization. Watch their commentary on hyperscaler orders and margins on their AI optimized boxes. And again, Best Buy did point to folks being interested in those AI optimized boxes. Workday is coming up. If companies are still rolling out HR and finance software, that would be a good sign they're not in a panic cut mode. Also, listen for their AI monetization. Are companies and customers paying more for their AI features? We have Zscaler, Zero Trust Security should be near non-discretionary. If ZS guides strong, it says cyber remains a must-have in the budget line. We got Autodesk, that should give us a great read on construction, manufacturing, and engineering pipelines. And then lastly, one of our favorite DC folks, Urban Outfitters, our check on fashion and the younger consumer headed into the holiday. Steve, if these reports come in strong, does that reinforce the late cycle Goldilocks idea, or is the economy cooling?
Goldilocks is a strong word. I like that word. It's interesting that you say that. I don't know. That's a good question. I think time is going to tell us the answer to that one. We don't really know.
It's the first time I've heard that word getting tossed around again. That's why I threw it into our
because
it's not just me again. This is
you stopped me on that. I was at the Goldilocks level. Well, it's a hard question because a lot of things has to happen in order for that to happen, right?
Because and I bring it up because quite honestly, your mood has moved that sort of it did kind of have so far a Goldilocks effect, right? The pullback came. And it wasn't as bad as maybe others expected it to be. It came in right about where you said it would. But was that enough to, is the sell-off fears falling further away? Are we further away from capitulation? As you said, at least for the short term, your mind, path of least resistance is to the upside versus the downside, right? Or is that now changing? I mean, I got to ask. In fact, that's what I got.
I'll tell you. Yeah, I like that. Okay, so over the last few days, I took advantage of that. The first thing I took advantage of was Netflix. I took advantage of Tesla getting beaten up, and we made good money on Tesla if you followed me there. I'm taking advantage of the Google, run up here. I'm taking advantage of the NVIDIA sell-off. So it's becoming a stock pickers market in a lot heavier way. Oh, wow.
We are open, NVIDIA.
Yeah, we are open. And look at that. Look at that solid Google there. Wow.
For you, Steve. Here's NVIDIA's moves to the downside to start off with. Google with a big drop there, Steve.
I had a calling. Yeah, there it is. And I am very short. As you all know, I'm very, very short on Google. And that was a nice move here.
Continuing to slide to the downside for you, Steve. 323.78. Still
look, guys,
to the downside.
Yeah. And look, I'm going to buy I got to cover that. That's just too much money. That was just too easy there.
Tick's still negative here, down about 9 points. The Dow Jones does open up slightly at about 5 basis points. S&P and Q's to the downside there. VIX is back down around 20 here, so it has very much cooled off from highs of 28 just a few days ago. Bitcoin didn't really jump back, still below that 87, trying to get back above it.
Wow.
Gold's first moves to the downside also. Silver's first move to the downside. So first moves across the board seem to be the downside.
Whew, that was a nice run on Google. Look at that sell-off in Google. Wow. Goodness.
Yeah, continuing to see the sell-off. What's interesting there is it's not bouncing NVIDIA back up at all, still down 4.7%.
Yeah.
You do see Netflix down about 1.2%. Tesla down about 80 basis points. Meta is the leader so far, up about 1.25, but we do see some profit taking hitting there. Also, Microsoft pretty flat on the day. Apple, a big jump at the open here, Steve. So that's a little bit surprising because, as you said, it seemed to you, and I saw some other analysts talking that, the Apple devices weren't seeing the Christmas shopper. So maybe we misread that a little bit there.
No, a 17 Pro Plus is what's I said. That's I like the yeah.
And we do see most of the sectors of the S&P have opened to the upside, with technology and energy being the two laggards. Technology down about 90 basis points and energy down about a half a percentage point here today. So far, UNG still continuing to move to the downside here, down 5.4% so far this morning. Tick has gone back positive slightly. Advanced decline nicely up about 2261. So we have seen that, and that's at the high of the day. So we do see the Dow and the S&P both positive on the day. So far, small caps the big winner, with the RUT up 46 basis points so far, and silver also taking a move to the upside, 51.43. We'll say an early morning earning beat also is SYM Subotic Incorporated. They acquired Walmart's advanced system and robotics, boosting its automated fulfillment capacity. And they had about a 900% beat on their EPS there, Steve. So markets liking what they saw. They are continuing to move to the inside. Again, that's SYM. Keystone getting, or Keysight, excuse me, also getting some love here, up 11.27.
I just bought some more NVIDIA here. I like this NVIDIA move here. Oh, by the way, Mr. Woo, look at that Firefly. Look at that one in Firefly. Oh, my mama mia. Holy moly.
Nice little move to the upside there.
And I got to take it. I mean, I got to take that money and run, baby.
Okay, our tick is still positive here. Advanced decline now up 2,500. So we do see the bulls pulling back into the market here. Dow Jones up 3%. S&P now up 11 basis points, moving to the upside. Q's not yet moving to the upside. Small caps, the talk of the day, up 56 basis points so far. AMD now down 7.84%, continuing to slide to the downside. So some losers are definitely moving down here.
Pushing here. Somebody hit fly pretty good there.
Some tech down 6.66% here, continuing to slide. Dell Computers down about 1.7% going into their earnings here. And some of the wins coming off of the crypto names that had good days yesterday. Coinbase down about 3% here today. So it's a little bit of a mixed bag across here. We do see some pretty good winners and some pretty good losers.
Damn, fly is still flying.
Pony AI up about 5% here today. Also seeing, Steve, First Interstate Bank System up 7% here today. Nice little move to the upside. Zoom's holding their games, continuing to move to the upside also.
Did I get out of fly too early there?
And Google did just bounce back nicely.
Yeah, I'm out of Google, by the way. For those of you who know, that short was super, super nice. Raise your hand if you followed me on Google this morning. That was just, I had a feeling that was going to happen on the cash market, this big short there. So congrats if you did that with me. Yeah. Wow. I'm out of fly now. Walt Disney up a little bit here this morning, up a buck here. Okay. All right.
Yep, Disney up 1%. Google now back up 1.9%. So after that early morning sell-off, we do see it moving back a little bit to the upside. Kohl's up 31% here, Steve, on their earnings beat. So one that you're not a big fan of, they just had a nice 161% beat on their EPS. So Kohl's definitely showing the lower end consumer in my mind when it comes to Kohl's, up 32% here, Steve.
Okay. Yep.
That gets them within pennies of their all-time high. 2139 would be their all-time high. Nice move up by Levi Strauss here also. So a lot of these Retail is getting nice little pumps today, up 1.73 in sympathy for what we're seeing across the other retailers. And the one you like, Steve, Nike up 1.6% here, moving to the upside.
I hit Google for $6, man. Woof. Look at that Google push back up now.
Banks are pushing back up a little bit today. JP Morgan up 1%, Bank of America up 1.5%. Morgan Stanley and Goldman Sachs both up about 1.5% also. So we are seeing a nice little move by the banks. Citicorp up 1.78% and UBS up 1.8%. So nice move there. As we mentioned earlier, it's a mixed bag across the chips. Most of them losing steam, but broadband, AMAT, Lam Research moving to the upside so far. Biggest loser so far is AMD, now down over 7%. NVIDIA now down more than 5% after taking it pretty hard last week. Man, 173.24, Steve. This is getting a little rough for those NVIDIA.
Yeah, but I mean, I bought this morning, so I'm okay with this. I like this pickup down here. I tell you what, you could probably short Google again here. Almost, I wanted to. I can't pull the trigger on that one yet, but I do like that. Fly at 1768. Did I get out of that too early there, sir?
Maybe. I'm holding it for a longer term hold, as you know. That's my play in orbit, so to speak.
Whew. My. That was a run this morning. I took some I had to take a profit off of that. I was very heavy, super heavy in that.
I am not super heavy in anything because my friend Steve told me not to be.
Well, your friend Steve may be wrong sometimes. He's been known to be wrong.
No, don't tell me that. I'm kidding. RUD is up about 65 basis points. So small caps are liking the fact that we're now at over 85% on the Fed cut. The data from September seems to have, the Fed does like to drive that car very fast. We're looking in the rearview mirror. So they're going to love September's data numbers.
Yeah.
That fits their narrative of looking back 2 months to move forward. Intel getting hit here about 1.26%. If Steve's right, and that is the chipset that's in most of these computers, could be a nice little opportunity in this 3530 down towards the bottom of its linear regression there.
Yeah, NVIDIA still slipping here a bit. Google now up 2.35% on the day. Google might be where it's at. I mean, this might be where we're at here with the Google. This might be the top, not getting all the way to the $4 trillion handle there, 3.94 trillion now. So might not be. Yeah,
nice, nice recovery there, though. Back, nice little recovery back to the upside there. Steve, your Tesla is back down 1.3%. Any sentiment on them today?
I want to get under. For me, Tesla's a buy under 400 and a sell over 400 somewhere. As for those of you who played with me yesterday, you know how much we crushed Tesla yesterday. Myself and Scott Bauer both played that thing. It's going to get to 420 somewhere around there, and I sold out. I was under 400. So, wow, just been a really good week. This is normally a good week to trade. Not a great week to invest. It's a great week to trade as a lot of market makers are flipping and quote, they're doing their what they do. They call window dressing. So yeah, I'm liking this NVIDIA here. I might buy some more here. Yeah, I think I'm gonna buy some more.
Down 5.4%. I actually think I'm gonna add some NVIDIA to my long-term portfolio here right now.
Yeah, I do like this move here on NVIDIA. I bought more shares here of NVIDIA.
I just added to mine.
What's interesting is Netflix.
Not added. That's actually a new, and I will say I want to make sure I say that correctly. I just started a new position.
Okay. Netflix is doing something pretty cool. They're doing the whole thing around Stranger Things. The new season is out. I already watched it. Interesting. I fell asleep every single time I watched every single show. And I like Stranger Things. I watched the live action on the Broadway, which is really good, by the way. If you haven't go to New York, go to Broadway show, but that's a good one.
Steve, I got to ask a question about Netflix, and I guess it's a question of, do they get a discounted rate? What I noticed, I had cut Netflix. And the only reason I have it returned is that my T-Mobile gives it to me. So is that still a win for Netflix? Do they pay a decent amount for that, or is that discount so big on those subscription, you know, that it doesn't matter? Or is it just about getting me back in the ecosystem?
Getting you back in the ecosystem, pretty much. I mean, yeah, from getting the ecosystem.
Yeah. I will say, for those of you that haven't looked at your credit card offers and your cell phone perks, make sure you do. I've been blown away over the last few months at what I was not using and taking advantage of, including free memberships to Walmart, Sam's, Costco, Netflix, Paramount Plus, Peacock, ESPN, and I'm forgetting something else. All things that I was literally paying for that I don't need to. So I will say there. Steve, the other thing I noticed is all your cruise companies are offering me, a non-cruiser, 80% off of cruises. Is that
I mean, I've got 25 cruises for free. I can't use any of them.
Yeah, I mean, you're a cruiser, though. They're now coming after us, the non-cruisers.
Because they don't make their money on the upfront fees. They make them on the back end, right? So
I have to get my drink package, and if I don't get my drink package and buy my drinks and my satellite,
damn it, I missed that Google sell here. I was trying to set short Google again. Damn, that was an easy short there. CrowdStrike down almost 10% here. Or I'm sorry, not CrowdStrike, CoreWeave. I'm sorry, my bad. CoreWeave.
What are you talking about?
CoreWeave down 10% here. Wow, that is strong selling there.
Yeah, they just keep moving to the downside. I mean, they have big issues. This is a company that has money issues.
Yeah, they do. They do. But I think I'm going to start a couple. Yeah. I'm going to buy some CoreWeave here. I think the selling is tough. I bought CoreWeave here, folks.
Okay, there you go. Steve, what I didn't mention was, is the New York Stock Exchange losing its luster? I saw Walmart moving over to...
I'll just tell you now, no.
Okay, well, then why is Walmart moving? You think companies want access to the fact that NASDAQ's been quicker moving to accept technology?
Yeah, I mean, you just mentioned the word I was going to use was tech. Absolutely right. But no, the New York Stock Exchange is still the New York Stock Exchange, and it's always going to be the New York Stock Exchange. And I love NASDAQ.
Well, right, just a few weeks ago, you were the guy that's saying, "Hey, watch out for Texas stock exchanges."
And I still agree with that. Texas is an interesting place.
Is it becoming a more democratized system? I guess maybe is a better question for you.
That's good. That is an interesting question.
Nvidia now down 6.22. I think I jumped in a little bit too early there.
Hey, that CoreWeave buy was good here. I like that CoreWeave buy. That was good.
I'll look to add to it. I do see they got a little bit. They could fill the gap down here to 165. That would be interesting, but I will just buy some more. Started position there. In Nvidia today, Steve, as you just said, is in CoreWeave. Steve, what else are you in today?
CoreWeave, I just bought. Look at that CoreWeave jump there. 30 cents already on it. Fly, look at Fly 1727. For those of you who listened, congrats, because that was an easy win for us there. RCL up 3%. I mean, yeah. Yeah, AMD being down 8%. I agree, Carlo. This is being exacerbated. Well, this is exactly what I mean by zero DTEs, right? It's exacerbated by this nonsense. People, you think institutions are just dumping AMD stock right now? No, right? This is people that are playing this zero DTEs, gambling, trying to knock things down. Okay, I get it. Guess what? I'm gonna take advantage of that. So.
AMD down 8.65%, ARM down 5.17%. So it's a chip rout, and even broadband that had been, with stealing that, as they are the partner with Google, now down 1 percentage point also. So tech's continuing to get hit pretty hard here. Google up 1.6%. Apple's the big winner so far, also up 1.3. We talked about Meta. I opened that position last week here, so that's looking pretty good. So far up 1.93
Look at the Qs. Qs
today.
are under 600 again, 599.60 again. Qs under 600 is kind of a buy here for me.
Okay, there you go. You heard it from BigBeat himself.
The Dow's up
599
92
at
points, the
60.
Nasdaq's down 200. I mean, look, it's a flip day. So I don't know. Now there you go. Abercrombie and Fitch up, A&F up 17.3%. And good
They
old
just released earnings after the bell, so I hadn't seen that yet. VIX is shooting back up here, Steve, up 3.56%, back above 21.
1707. Oh my! Look at that run. That was a run to the downside now. Oh,
Gold getting hit pretty hard here, also, Steve. Down a 0.5 percentage point. Bitcoin down towards 86 here, 86,363. So a lot of yesterday's positivity sweeping away. We had been showing a higher high and higher low over the last 3 or 4 days.
$5
Looks like that's reversing here. AMD now down over 9% here. So
yeah, I think the selling here is
continuing to see the sell off here.
Yeah, it's just
NVIDIA
nonsense.
has found a little support of that 170 level, bounce back from the lows of the day a little bit, but still not looking so great so far either. We do see Apple now starting to sell off a little bit here. Same thing with Google now down, only up 1.6. Meta is the only one that still seems to have an upward trajectory. We do see Tesla sliding way to the downside, down 2.4. So it does look like after the algos bought it up, retail is selling it off, huh?
Get under 400, baby. Get under 400. I'll do it again.
Best Buy has now gone negative on the day. So again, some of the early morning winners are starting to give back those.
Pick down 700 here. Crude oil 57.27 a barrel. Whew.
I mentioned that.
I was watching Landman, the other day, and they're like, "Oh, it was $76 a barrel." Woo! They're all happy. Yeah. No, sir, it's at 57.
Dell getting hit pretty hard here before their earnings today, down about 2.76%. I mentioned Coinbase giving back all of the gains it saw yesterday and now below yesterday's lows. Rigetti still getting hit here, down another 7% here today. Quantum computing also, Qubit down 5% here today. So, Steve, we're seeing a pretty big sell-off, pretty big reversal.
We are,
It's gone real negative, down 500 over the last few minutes. Advanced Declines giving up half of its gains so far. And Dixie is now dropped below 99.90 here to 99.80. Wow.
Bitcoin just took a big spank there. I mean,
everything's getting hit real hard here.
People need money.
Have you seen any news that would be leading to this drop?
No, it's just stupid. It's a stupid drop. It's a dumb drop, and it's exacerbated. It's dumb. Nothing here that I see. I mean, look, people losing jobs, so we talked about it, right? I mean, it is what it is. But the selling of 8% on AMD, no, that's just nonsense, right? Now I will say the run up was a little nonsensical too. So there's that 170, 150 now on NVIDIA. So if you're following me on NVIDIA here, you're probably smiling a little bit here. So we're starting to do that now. So yeah.
Yep. And again, most of those earnings winners are now sold off. And NVIDIA is definitely the drag on the market that we're seeing so far. And I want to, because that's a psychological one, right? Also, I mean, number one, the market cap is so huge, it moves those needles.
NVIDIA 172 there. So if you're in, this could be the buying opportunity that you've been looking for here, folks.
Yeah, I mean,
there's a bouncer in the Qs here. They just dropped under. That's what I said. Under 600 in the Qs was a buy. I like this down here. I like this a lot, actually. Ticks up 242 now. There's some buyers stepping back in. So this is just trade. It's a trade, right? Interestingly enough, the U.S. has allowed Russia Hungary to purchase oil from Lukoil, which is Russian oil. So that may be some thawing out of here a little bit.
Well, that would also explain why WTI and those are dropping, right? If they think that the Russian oil is going to be let back in, they are one of the largest.
Because Russian oil is cheap. Russian oil is the cheapest oil on the planet right now.
Yep. And they got a lot of it.
Fly back to 1745. What's going on at Fly, man? Oh my goodness. The trading is crazy over there. Tesla at 410 now. RCL is now up $7. If you were listening here, I liked RCL. We talked about it. Apple's up $2 here. Meta's up 1.5%. I think there's some buying going on here.
Steve, does Boeing get to a level you like at some point? It's been getting killed since.
Yeah, I'm buying a little bit of Boeing at a time. I've been buying a little bit right here. Yesterday, I talked about it yesterday, so I do like Boeing here.
Yeah, continuing to slide to the downside, down another 66 basis points. Alibaba that we talked about that was up over 3% in the pre-market, now negative, down 1%. So everything that's going up is coming back down fairly quickly here. Constellation Energy down about 2.87%. Berkshire is holding up, back up at 508.25. So we've seen a nice spike off of that area I talked about when it was at $500 there on Berkshire, back up another $8 since then.
Yeah, we talked about that Friday, right? That I was buying Berkshire Hathaway, and I did. So, this is good stuff here. I'm really starting to like some of this moves here. This is good moves here.
Amazingly, Kohl's is holding up that 31%. It did dip right after that, but now has gone right back to the upside. Seen some of the homeowners continuing to show strength. You see them, Lennar up another 1.68%, but off of that 112 back to 125, nice 10% gain over the last week or so there. So nice move to the upside. And again, that quick dump got bought very quickly there across that. Q's jumped right back up, as Steve said, anything below 600. A lot of the bigger tech names are also getting hit here. You got Credo down about 4.65% so far. Oracle's down another 4.6%. Also, Steve mentioned CoreWeave down 7.6% so far. A lot of those data center names that have been tied to the AI getting hit here. Palantir down another 1.81%. RCL, that start, 160, below 160. Does that start to get interesting for you?
Yeah, it does. Yes, it does, actually. Yeah, it does. I'm loving this move here, Howard. This is a nice pickup. I mean, for those of you listening to us now, 601.12 now on Qs. You just mentioned to Howard. That was a nice move under the 600 handle there for Qs, and it was a nice pickup for those 172.50 now here on NVIDIA. I'm liking that.
Yeah, we picked up NVIDIA right at that key spot. It looks like that 170 handle. Everything's bouncing off those lows, so it looked like was this a little bit of a bear trap they set today?
Maybe, yeah.
Be nice to see if we can move to the
I
upside.
think there's some profit taking here going into the week. Obviously we have a shortened week here, so
it's interesting. VIX completely reversed back below 21 here, so that's good to see. Should help a little bit. Bitcoin at 86.4, so 86 held up here so far. That's good to see also. So Ethereum held right its key fib level, so that's good to see also. So in general, everything kind of got tested here for the first time and held up at the first. So we had somebody, they tried to take the Qs, they tried to take Bitcoin, they tried to take gold. All of them bounced off of those lows at the same time. So pretty positive bounce, could lead us to a better day.
Tesla,
you see now utilities now moving into the red, also on the sectors of the S&P. Big winner so far again is the healthcare sector now, XLV, and we really hadn't talked about anybody in the healthcare sector.
Yeah, where's UNH at right these days? I haven't really
That's
kept
what
my
I'm
eye on
looking at right
UNH.
now. Yeah, they're having a nice day, up 2.15%, 325.91. That's one of my better picks of the last few months, has been buying UNH for the long-term hold there.
172, 62 now, 65 now on NVIDIA, pushing up now. If we get above 173, we could really push here on NVIDIA. And fly right back up, 1763 again, 65.70. Something's going 1780 now on fly. 1750.
Hey, it's probably some sort of squeeze, like you said a little bit there.
But it's really traveling today. Oh, sorry if I mentioned.
Wow, look at that jump by Best Buy, everybody. Best Buy just took off up. I just mentioned it, gone negative, up 3.9% here.
Something's going on with Best Buy. Sure. Best Buy now got volume is 1.53 million. This can happen on these kind of days, folks, if you don't know. When you have low volume days like today, and especially going into the holidays, where you're starting to see rotation out of sectors, and we call it window dressing on the institutional side of things. Nobody wants to be broke during Thanksgiving, because that affects your bonuses. And you talked to Steve Flanagan on that yesterday as well, Monday. Same thing's happening. So this is a kind of a fun day. So when there's 173 now on Netflix, I'm sorry, NVIDIA. So you're starting to see a little bit that bounces around. So be careful out there, because this could be one of those days where anything that fell off the cliff today could be a nice buy here. $9 now on Royal Caribbean here. Wow. And yeah, and Best Buy still pushing here. I think so. I think the Best Buy Black Friday deals would be pretty good. I was in there as they were setting up, and I was really impressed with what they're doing. It's
I'm not listening, so I don't look at them and buy anything I don't need.
You know, it is what it is. I bought a few things, not many things. I bought.
You always do. Steve, Cole's up 35% now, continuing to fly to the upside here. So those retail names are catching some serious love. Best Buy now up 4.83%, breaking to the upside here. So again, those pre-market earnings winners that I was worried about because they dropped off after the cash open, now zooming to the upside. And that was a pun, because Zoom now up 9.87%, flying to the upside.
Yep.
Upwork up 8%. HSAI up 7.44%. Big winner again, we talked about earlier, SYM Symbiotic Inc. up about 38.5%. Again, they are a company that works on the automation fulfillment at distribution centers. We break some key resistance here, we've got some serious upside to us right now. Bitcoin regained
breaking news now. Consumer
here.
confidence coming out at 88.7 versus 94.6. Consumer confidence falling very, very fast here. They were estimating 93.3. That is very, very low. Consumer confidence really dropping here. Wow.
Market doesn't care. Tick moving up 532 here.
That's what I'm saying. It could be good, because this could pretend to be a serious cut here, but it could hurt the tech names here. Pending home sales coming in at 1.6% for October, and they expected 0.2%. So some pending home sales are coming out too as well.
It's still staying nicely positive here with the big winner here. Small caps up 1.08%. Big losers so far is the tech sector still. NVIDIA was the real laggard there, and now back down towards 171. So again, the sell-off comes across NVIDIA. It hurts the entire market right now so far, and Google, Amazon, Meta, Apple is still not able to make up that difference. And oof, NVIDIA just got hit pretty hard here, back down at
that consumer confidence number
170.60.
was bad.
Right back down at my entry. That didn't take long. Short-lived win there. We'll see what happens. Bitcoin 86,376, so a little bit of sell-off here. And we hit key resistance on a lot of these, especially the Qs, which were the pre-market highs. Trying to get back above them, that's going to be the key to keep an eye on here today.
I think we'll shake it off here a little bit.
Steve, we are at 10 o'clock here. What are you thinking we see the rest of the day? Take us home.
I think we shake it off. This like a Taylor Swift song, and we move higher on the day. I think so. I think we, look, it's I don't expect much here today. Look, the VIX is pushing up a little bit here, but I'm not too concerned about this market. I think we go right back up.
I love it. I love it. Well, for Quasar Markets, everybody, we will see you tomorrow morning. Markets look like they do want to get some steam, but watch it at those key resistance levels. And like Steve, take profits when you do make them. Everybody have a fantastic day.